Greetings, members, one and all of the Salivation Nation, gaining ground in gold. Let's explore. Earlier, I posted a video about how gold could be overvalued. I do like to take a contrarian point of view from time to time, and we're going to take the opportunity of unboxing some gold to discuss that a bit further, and how even so, you are gaining ground with gold. Gold is one of those metals that is quite unique upon any other kind of asset class out there. And even though we've seen the price kind of pull back somewhat, even if there is a bit of it being overvalued, essentially it'll all work itself out. Kind of like the scene in Office Space whenever Milton doesn't get his paycheck. Well, they just don't say anything about it. It'll kind of work itself out. This is an unpackaging from Monument Metals, and they've actually done quite a good job. Their package within a package is essentially another box, which is nice to have that double packing in there. So we'll open this up and take a look at it. And we're looking ahead in gaining ground in 2022, which is next year. There's a lot of things working, I think, in the favor of gold as we progress into next year than against it. Although, again, arguments could be made, as I mentioned earlier, for the price subsiding a bit before going back up again. But in the end, it's about wealth preservation over the long course of time. And gold is one of those metals that has seemed to have done that and is much less volatile in these times. Open this up and pull it out, and there it is, folks. It is the brand new 2022 Kangaroo. Indeed, there it is. Lovely coin. It tends to have a more simplistic design this year than in recent past years, with sort of a broad environment around the coin. Simple and new font here for the word kangaroo. And in the 2022 series of coins from the Perth Mint, only the Kookaburra is the only other coin that has this style of lettering with it. But I kind of like this look. And as is always the case with the Perth Mint, you know you're going to have a quality product, which is quite attractive here. Very good. So yes, very nice design there, clean, and you know, it's interesting. There are some kangaroo designs that I'm not a big fan of. Others have been very nice, and I think this one has a kind of a unique angle showing the kangaroo hopping here. But it is, I think the hopping kangaroo is probably the best looking design. And though it's a little bit awkward with this angle, they seem to pull it off quite well, I think. So there it is. Beautiful indeed. But when you buy gold and wondering what's going to be happening in 2022 with the price, it does give you some pause. You know, especially since we did see the prices shoot up dramatically in August of 2020, and they've subsided back a bit, but not to the points to where they were pre-COVID. And in reality, silver didn't do that either. But still, it is intriguing to see here how the prices have moved for gold. And I believe that it's only a matter of time before we see prices for gold climb up again and maybe find new resistance, maybe to the point where we're at right now, and even higher. It does seem like, especially since August of 2020, that the prices have only pulled back so far, and we've had a sustained level of these higher prices, meaning that probably 2022, one could make a bullish prediction for gold and feel pretty good about it. I think that's kind of where I'm at. In other words, I'd be quite surprised if we saw gold pull back to anywhere near the where we were at in 2019. But someone can make an argument for it. There's some people that believe gold is somewhat overvalued, although I tend to hold more towards a bullish viewpoint for gold, and so it'll be interesting to see where it goes. But nonetheless, even if gold were to go back down fairly substantially, I feel good about making purchases of gold because typically you lose a little less. It's not as volatile. It is a much more stable form of wealth preservation, I believe, than silver. And this is why I've wanted to focus a bit more on it over the course of the last almost 5 years now. I've focused a bit more on gold. And so I will probably continue to move in that direction, maybe not as intensely as I have been. This is the last month before a kind of a sort of a soft goal that I made at the beginning of the year to myself. I didn't really publicize this, but I will do a total year-end wrap-up of the gold purchases made this year, and we'll kind of assess my situation. Did I make a smart move? Maybe not, especially if prices do subside. If that recent article that I referenced in a video earlier pans out to be true, then it very well may be that it was a fool's errand to be chasing gold at these high prices. But it's about smart dollar cost averaging. In a sense, I have tried to make purchases when the prices dip down. In fact, this was a purchase when the price of gold dipped down a bit. As I record this video, they have dipped down again, at least to a point where, it's like it's trying to find out when is the best time, a smart time to buy. And with gold, especially in the 1 ounce size, you really have to play it by ear. It means that those dips mean a lot more than it would be for silver, because it's probably easier to dollar cost average for silver than it is for gold, because there's a lot of commitment to buy a full ounce of gold, and so that leaves little room for error. And if the price goes down $30 after you make a purchase, you've kind of lost your edge there. But in the end, it's not about these short-term price movements one way or the other. It's more about the long game, the long scale view of where gold has gone and how it has preserved your wealth over the course of a long period of time. You can't measure it in any given month, week, or even a year, because if you measured gold's performance over this year, it performed not too well. Did not do too well for inflation. But it certainly did last year. No question about that. Last year performed well. But for 2021, gold in a sense has struck out because it had a big it had to compete with its own price point above $2,000, is what they saw. So very interesting indeed. Fascinating to see how the price moves and how frustrating it can be sometimes for those of us who buy the metal. And if you just started getting into stacking gold or even silver this year, you may be quite jaded. But I would encourage you to hang on and to remember that it's about the long term. It's about holding gold and about assessing true value over price. And that's the key. It's a paradigm shift in thinking when you're holding gold, especially gold, but you can really apply these same principles to silver as well too. It's about applying the principles of understanding value compared to price. And to me, and I think for most of society in general, especially when you see how it affects different cultures, and it has for literally millennia, value is where it's at. Price is temporary. Fiat currencies that are used to purchase these metals, they are temporary. Many of us that are born into the Federal Reserve System, you had to have been born in around 1913 to be born into it. That's a long time ago for sure. So for those of you who are, less than 50 years old, this is definitely all you know, because it's not tied to any thing of any value, of any substantive value. The value essentially is the faith in it, in the institutions that are behind this debt instrument. This note is legal tender for all debts, public and private. That's it. Whereas this does not need any kind of verbiage as such, being legal tender for anything, even though it certainly is legal tender coinage backed by the full faith and credit of the Australian government, minted by the Perth Mint for $100. But its value far transcends the price on this coin or any of the dollars that it is priced at in the marketplace. And that's something that I think is should give you the confidence to hold and to continue to stack on your gold and silver. When you realize that, when you have that shift, that paradigm shift in thinking, that it's about the value of the metal and not necessarily the market from which it was priced. So there you have it. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. Adding another ounce to the stack, a 2022 gold kangaroo. Let me know what your thoughts are. I would like to extend a multitude of gratitude to you all for taking the time to watch, and to encourage you to please rate, share, comment, and subscribe.